Taking a beautiful walk on this day here in Serbia, and I thought I would take a moment to talk to you about temporary residency, something that we help clients with quite often. And many of our clients already have multiple passports when they come here. And depending on the passport that you have, that may determine on what process you take here when applying for temporary residency. And today we're going to talk to you about what are the processes and what passports work best. All right, so coming to Serbia, if you don't have any ties to Serbia and you cannot obtain citizenship, your only option is going to be temporary residency. And a couple ways that you can obtain citizenship, I've mentioned on this video before, is either by descent or by merit, which we help many of our clients do. But if you don't have any of those options, and your only option is temporary residency, you essentially have two options there as well, either by setting up a business or by purchasing property. Now, if you are coming in here and obtaining temporary residency, the passport that you're applying with matters greatly. And most of the clients that we work with have no issues. They're typically coming from Canada. They're coming from the United States, Australia, or EU countries. And typically, those clients can come here, purchase property, and or open up a business, and then on those two terms, obtain temporary residency, all while you are here in Serbia. However, if you are coming from countries that only give you 30 days visa free with your passport, even if you're coming in on a US visa and your passport is something that is restricting you with not having a 90-day visa free travel, then you are going to have to go through a longer process. And that process is going to, one, require you still to open up a business or to purchase property, or if you are married to someone that already has residency here or citizenship here, you cannot just simply apply for temporary residency. You will still need to apply for a D visa. And you may be thinking, well, that's a little bit backwards. You know, I'm able to come into the country and to stay here, open up a company, purchase property, or my spouse may be one of those individuals who already has temporary residency or citizenship here. However, we've worked with a client who their husband obtained temporary residency here with a American passport, even though that they had a Vanuatu passport. And the question is always, which passport do I use? And it's always the strongest one. Now, his wife was from another country in Asia, and she was able to come in on an invitation letter. However, in order to get her into temporary residency, she had to obtain a D visa on the basis that her husband sent that invitation letter, and that was to be approved by an embassy. You cannot do that within Serbia, and many of the people that tell you that you can apply within Serbia are wrong and misleading you, and most likely looking to take money from you. We've also had an individual who came here with her spouse and did not want to do it through marriage because they were just common law partners, which you can still get residency here based on being with someone you're in a common law marriage, but there's a lot more moving parts when it comes to that. And so they had to come into Serbia, open up a business, and then apply for temporary visa D. The trick is though that if you're looking to apply for a visa D, you have to have a reasonable basis as to why you are applying for a visa D. You cannot apply for a visa D simply on the basis of wanting to be a tourist. And so the complication is that you are still going to need to come to Serbia to purchase a property, as long as Serbia in your country has a reciprocity agreement, or open up a business. And then, in order to go into the visa D process, you will be required to leave the country and then apply at an embassy that is in the neighboring country. So we've had clients that went to Hungary, we've had clients that went to Bosnia, we've had clients that went to Romania and applied it that way. And then you are to wait for that visa D to be approved on the basis that you opened up a company, purchased a property, or your spouse already has temporary residency there. And so if you are someone that is coming into Serbia or looking to come into Serbia, like we recently had a question from someone who is living in the United Kingdom. They are waiting for their UK passport to be finalized and then come to Serbia. But she wanted to come into Serbia beforehand and apply the process. But the problem is that the only passport she currently has is a Jamaican passport. And so I told her, I mentioned to her and told her the best thing is that if you're looking to apply for your temporary residency, that you're best to wait for your UK passport. But then the question arose, can I just come into Serbia and check it out? And by all means, you can come to Serbia, check out Serbia, sign lease agreements, get all the paperwork ready for your temporary residency application. But then it would be best to leave the country, pick up your UK passport, and then come back in on your UK passport. And then you don't have to obtain a visa D. The visa D also has a lot more paperwork, a lot more fees in order for you to get approved. There may be questions, interviews, so on and so forth. And regardless of what the process is that you're applying for, doesn't matter if you're coming in on a UK visa or if you're coming on one of the weaker passports, you still have the possibility of being declined. But the idea is to have as little friction as possible. And so if you come in on a stronger passport, that means you do not have to go through the visa D process, and you can simply go right into the residency application process, which is more of a straightforward process. And of course, it still holds risk. However, when you work with us, we understand how to minimize that risk and ensure that you have the best possibility of obtaining that temporary residency. To date, we still have not had anyone denied when it came to their temporary residency, and that's something that we are very much proud of. But those are the things that you have to come and keep in mind when you are coming or preparing to come to Serbia. And if you are not sure, you're more than welcome to book in a consultation with us so that we can discuss what your best plan of action is. Are you possibly already married to a Serbian citizen and you can come in here and obtain temporary residency based on that, depending on what passport you have. And it also does not mean that you have to just look at yourself, but you also have to look at if you're bringing any siblings or children along with you. One of the things also you have to keep in mind, if you have a child that is over the age of 18, they cannot simply apply for temporary residency based on family reunification. They would have to come in under another reason, either education, opening up their own business, work, or purchasing property. And you know, as an 18-year-old, I don't know too many out there that are looking to purchase a property right off the bat, but I may be wrong. And it wouldn't surprise me this day and age with all the opportunity out there that we have with online work. But if you have any children that are below the age of 18, of course, they can obtain temporary residency based on family reunification. But you have to keep in mind is what passport do they have? Because we've worked with clients who the parents had one passport and each of the other children had two different passports. And so each child had a different process as to how they would come into Serbia. And being that the beautiful weather is starting to come out, more and more people are now out of the holiday season. The weather is getting more beautiful around the world, especially here in Serbia. And they're thinking of relocation plans. And so if that is at the forefront of your plans this year in 2026 or any other years going forward, you would be best to figure out what is the best plan of action. Is it also best that you perhaps have one of or have your spouse come into the country first and do the process, and then you yourself do the process, and then your children? Because if you all come in at once, one or more than one of you may be required to leave the country to continue the process. And to have the least amount of restriction, it would be best to get information on your personal stance and your personal passports and understanding how the logistics are going to work when it comes to that process. And Serbia does welcome everybody here from all around the world. However, if you hold certain passports, those processes may be more difficult than for others. And that is what we're looking to reduce and trying to let you know in this video. And if you do want to find out more about your own personal process, I would highly recommend you book in a consultation with myself and my team to go over what exactly it would entail for you to do so and what would be the best course of action. And so I'm looking forward to meeting many of you, as many of you that follow me have reached out in regards to moving to Serbia, relocating to Serbia, or obtaining citizenship, residency, whatever it might be. And I'm happy to help each and every one of you. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of this day here in Serbia, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you in the near future.